Hey, what's up world? It's Eric. Today I'm going to be replacing the window lift regulator and motor assembly on my 2000 Hyundai Sonata. For this you need a couple tools. You need a ratchet with a 10mm socket, a Phillips, and a flathead comes in handy for prying off some of the little covers. And of course the new part. In order to get the door off, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws. Screws on this side are covered by these little ports. I'm not too sure the proper way to get them off. I kind of just broke them off mine. It's not really that big a deal to me, but enough. Same thing also, there's a cover supposed to be here, but this one's also already gone, so I don't have to pop that off. And yeah, that's two little covers I was talking about. I basically cover up the screw holes. I broke them on the other side, they were so dry rotted. Alright, now that I got all the screws out, basically just take this thing and manipulate it through the opening and take it out like that. First I'm going to take that out and give it a good clean in the sink. Alright, now that that's out, basically grab a hold of the bottom corner down by the light and you pull. And you kind of gotta yank up and back. There's a little brace there that holds this middle piece on. Okay, now that you got the bottom part of the door out, you can reach behind, pull the light out there. There's a little plastic clip on the bottom of that one you push up on, and it'll pull off that quarter piece, makes it a little bit easier. And then we lift it up. As you got to lift it up, you're going to have to go ahead and behind this control panel, you squeeze the bottom of the clips and you pull down on them and pull out. You should be able to feel the trigger. Now I got the whole door panel. You can see we got the whole door panel off. Unfortunately, we actually need the window positioned down here to be able to access the bolts to it. So I want to see if I can move it by hand. And no, I cannot. Let's see, I can access one of the bolts right through there. So at this point, I'm going to start the car. And see if I can lower this window back down. In an ideal world, you would lower it down to there and take it off, but the whole mechanism is messed up, so I'm going to get a little bit of different tools here. So there's basically two bolts holding the window on, one there and one there. So I was able to get that one out with the extension, and the other one I'm going to have to reach in there and get it with a wrench and take it off because I can't lower the window to get it down to this panel to access it. Okay, now that I use a wrench, I had to stick my arm up there and get it off. That wasn't fun. That took a while. I can go ahead and there are 7 bolts to remove it. You have 2 here, 2 here. That removes the assembly, and then 3 here, which removes the motor. While you're back in this area, go ahead and you push down on the end of this wire here. And go ahead and disconnect that before we go. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and undo all these bolts now. Okay, and with all the bolts removed, we can go ahead and pull the whole assembly out. the whole assembly. So basically just got to get my new part and put it in there now. And if you're looking for this assembly, you can find it down in the description below. Alright, looks like a good match to the other part. Alright, and we put the assembly back up in there, pretty much the opposite way that we did before. Alright, and as you get everything in there, you want to just kind of lightly put on all the bolts, but don't tighten them down yet. Okay, now that we got all the bolts on there, just loosely. I don't want to use the wrench again. I prefer to, I'm going to lower the panel back down to here. So to do that, okay, now that I've loosely got all those bolts on, first thing I'm going to want to do is just plug the electrical back in for it. Then once I got the motor plugged back in, I'm going to lower the mounting bracket down to here for better access for it. For that, I got to plug in the controls on the door for a second. Also gives you a good chance to test everything out. Of course, with the car, you gotta. Okay, now I got the mounting bracket lowered down to there. It'll be much easier to work on. Now I need to lower the window down onto it. Once you have it lined back up with the bracket, you can put the bolts back in. Then, now that we got the window tightened down onto it, now go ahead and tighten up the 7 bolts. I went ahead and cleaned up the door. Looks much better now, almost like brand new. So the first thing we're going to want to do is you want to bring the panel up close to the door, and you want to hook the light back into it. And then you want to hook the 2 control panel wires back into it. Okay, and now with all the wires hooked back in, I'm going to go ahead, and this is a good point to go ahead and test to make sure I got everything hooked up right. First of all, the power mirrors, they are working. Window. And the window is working. May have to grease the tracks there a little bit. So this is now a good point. Put the door back on. For that, you want to go ahead and hook it over, and you got to make sure this armrest falls into its bracket. Okay, once you have it over the top and over that bracket there, I'm going to go ahead and press a little bit. Okay, once you make sure you get the wire out of the way for the light there, also, you should be able to pound the door back into. Don't forget to put the little door handle piece back in. Then you just need to put the 8 screws back in. Nice. And don't forget this little piece up here. Just snaps right back in there. Anyways, try to have a good day.